Have you ever had this strange feeling, folks? You're talking to a woman. The conversation is easy. She laughs at your jokes. She stays close. Sometimes she even touches your arm. But then you walk away thinking the same thing most men think. She's probably just being friendly. My friend, this is where so many men completely miss what is actually happening. Women rarely say directly that they like you. Instead, they show it through small behaviors, subtle signals, tiny shifts in body language and tone that reveal far more than words ever could. The problem is that most men are trained to ignore these signals. You assume she is just nice, just polite, just social. Meanwhile, she might be giving you clear signs that you are more than just another friend in the room. Let's be real for a moment. How many times have you realized weeks later that a woman was interested in you only after the moment had already passed? It happens all the time. In this video, we are going to break down 10 specific things women do when they are attracted to you. These are not random guesses or pickup tricks. These are real patterns in female psychology. Once you understand them, you will start seeing signals that most men completely miss. And pay close attention to the middle of this list, because a couple of these signs are incredibly subtle, yet they reveal attraction almost every single time. Let's get into it. Number 1. She finds ways to touch you. Let's start with one of the clearest signals, folks. Physical touch, not dramatic touch, not obvious flirting. I'm talking about the small, almost casual ways a woman finds to make contact with you. Because here's the reality, my friend. Women rarely touch men they are not interested in, especially in subtle social situations. When attraction is present, physical contact starts appearing in small ways. A quick tap on your arm when she laughs, a playful nudge when you tease her, her hand resting on your shoulder for a moment longer than necessary. To most men, these moments seem insignificant, but they are rarely accidental. Let's look at a real example. Kevin is 59 and attends a small neighborhood barbecue in Scottsdale. While talking with friends, he meets a woman named Emily, 54. Their conversation starts casually. They talk about hiking trails nearby and favorite restaurants in the area. At one point, Kevin tells a story about getting lost on a mountain trail years earlier. Emily laughs and lightly taps his arm. "You would get lost," she jokes. The conversation continues. A few minutes later, Kevin makes another sarcastic comment about his terrible sense of direction. Emily laughs again and nudges his shoulder. Now, here's the important part. She didn't touch anyone else during that conversation, only Kevin. And she didn't seem aware she was doing it. That's how these signals usually appear. Natural, unforced, almost automatic. Now compare that with another situation. Daniel is 62, attending a local wine tasting event in Napa. He meets a woman named Karen, 57, while standing near the bar. As they talk about different wines, Karen leans closer when Daniel speaks. At one moment, she gently brushes a speck of lint off his jacket. Most men would miss that completely, but that kind of touch rarely happens without interest. Karen did not need to remove lint from Daniel's jacket. She simply created a reason to touch him, and that is the pattern you start noticing once you understand female psychology. When a woman likes you, physical contact often appears in playful or practical ways. A light tap, a small adjustment to your collar, a brief touch when she laughs. Each moment by itself might seem meaningless, but together they form a pattern. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The things you think about determine the quality of your mind." When you begin paying attention to small details like this, your awareness of social dynamics becomes much sharper, and awareness changes everything. Now let me make something clear. One accidental touch means nothing. People bump into each other all the time. But repeated comfortable contact is different. It means she feels relaxed around you. More importantly, it means she is comfortable breaking the invisible boundary of personal space. And when a woman crosses that boundary, naturally attraction is often already present. Kevin initially thought Emily was just being friendly, but by the end of the evening he realized something else. She continued standing close, touching his arm when she spoke, and laughing more easily around him than anyone else in the group. Those small signals were telling a bigger story. If this insight resonates with you, type this in the comments. I noticed the signals. Stick with me because the next sign is even more revealing, and once you see it, you will start noticing it everywhere. Number 2. She always stays close to you. Now here is another signal many men overlook, folks. It has nothing to do with words and everything to do with space. When a woman is attracted to you, she naturally stays close to you, not by accident, not randomly, by choice. Let's be honest for a second, my friend. People move toward what they enjoy and drift away from what they do not. This is basic human behavior. We sit closer to people we like. We position our bodies toward the person who has our attention. And women often reveal their interest through this quiet decision. She chooses the seat next to you, even though other seats are open. When the group shifts locations, she ends up standing near you again. When the conversation breaks into smaller groups, somehow she drifts back toward your side. These moments look casual on the surface, but they are rarely random. A woman who has no interest in you will usually keep a comfortable distance. She may still be polite. She may still talk with you, but her body will naturally create space. Attraction tends to do the opposite. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." What he meant was simple. Where our attention goes, our energy follows. In social interactions, this becomes visible through proximity. If her attention keeps returning to you, her physical position often follows. You may notice that she angles her body toward you when speaking, even if others are nearby. Her shoulders turn slightly in your direction. Her feet point toward you rather than toward the center of the room. These details sound small, but they carry real meaning. Human beings instinctively orient their bodies toward what interests them. Epictetus spoke about something related when he taught that behavior reveals more than words ever will. A person may say many things, but their actions quietly tell the truth. This is exactly what happens here. A woman might never say directly that she is interested in you, but her behavior may reveal it clearly through the way she positions herself around you. Now here is another detail many men miss. When attraction is present, distance tends to shrink over time. At first, she might stand a comfortable space away while talking, but as the conversation continues, she may lean slightly closer. The distance becomes smaller without either person consciously planning it. This shift happens naturally when someone feels comfortable and engaged. Seneca once wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." Many men overthink these moments. They worry about reading signals incorrectly, so they ignore them completely. But awareness is not the same as assumption. You are not jumping to conclusions. You are simply observing patterns. If a woman repeatedly chooses to remain physically close to you, that pattern deserves attention. It means she feels comfortable in your presence. And comfort is often the first doorway to attraction. Because when someone feels relaxed near you, they begin allowing small emotional connections to grow. The conversation becomes easier. The laughter becomes more natural. The distance between two people quietly fades. And that fading distance is rarely accidental. If this insight resonates with you, type this in the comments. I see the signals. Stay tuned because the next sign is even more revealing. It shows up in something most men hear every day, but almost never recognize for what it truly means. Number 3. Her voice gets softer with you. Now here is a signal most men hear but almost never recognize, folks. Her voice changes when she talks to you, not the words, the tone. When a woman is attracted to a man, her voice often becomes softer, warmer, and slightly slower when she speaks to him. It is not something she usually plans. It happens naturally when she feels comfortable and emotionally engaged. Let's be real for a moment, my friend. People adjust their tone depending on how they feel about the person in front of them. When someone feels defensive or uninterested, their voice becomes flat or distant. But when they feel relaxed and intrigued, the tone becomes warmer. And women tend to express this shift very clearly. Let me give you a real example. Mark is 63 and volunteering at a small community event in San Diego. During a break, he starts talking with a woman named Laura, 58, who is helping organize the event. When Laura first speaks to the group, her voice is confident and energetic. She's giving instructions, speaking clearly so everyone can hear. But later, when she is standing beside Mark discussing travel, something changes. Her voice drops slightly in volume. It becomes calmer, slower, more personal. Instead of projecting her voice like she did with the group, she leans a little closer and speaks in a softer tone. Now here is what makes this signal interesting. Laura does not speak that way with everyone. When another volunteer joins the conversation, her voice shifts back to the normal conversational tone she used earlier. But when she turns back toward Mark, that softer tone returns again. This is something psychologists often call vocal warmth. When a woman feels comfortable with a man, her voice naturally carries more warmth and emotional softness. It becomes less public and more personal. Now let's look at another situation. David is 60 and chatting with a woman named Rachel, 55, at a bookstore in Chicago. They start talking about a novel they both enjoy. At first, Rachel's voice sounds casual, the way someone might speak to any stranger. But as the conversation continues and she becomes more engaged, her voice begins to soften. Her tone becomes slightly quieter. She laughs more easily. The rhythm of her speech slows down. David notices something else too. When Rachel answers questions from the cashier, her voice shifts back to a neutral tone. But when she turns back toward him, that warmer tone appears again. This pattern reveals something important. The softness is not random, it is directed. Marcus Aurelius once wrote that people reveal their character through the small things they do repeatedly. In social interactions, those small signals often appear through tone and energy rather than words. And tone carries powerful emotional information. A softer voice often means she feels safe speaking closely with you. It means she is comfortable letting the conversation feel more personal rather than public. Most men completely miss this shift because they focus only on what she says. But how she says it often reveals much more. When her tone becomes warmer, slower, and slightly more intimate around you, it usually means she feels a level of connection she does not feel with everyone else in the room. And those subtle shifts are rarely accidental. If this insight resonates with you, type this in the comments, I hear the difference. Stay with me, because the next signal is one of the most powerful of all. And once you recognize it, you will start noticing it in almost every moment of real attraction. Number 4. The look that lasts too long. Now let's talk about one of the most powerful signals of attraction, folks. Eye contact that lingers longer than normal. Most conversations include eye contact. That is normal human behavior. But when a woman is attracted to you, the way she looks at you changes in a very subtle but unmistakable way. The look stays just a little longer, not long enough to feel uncomfortable, but long enough to create a moment. Let's be honest here, my friend. Attraction often shows itself in silence before it ever appears in words. And the eyes are one of the clearest places where that truth reveals itself. When a woman holds your gaze longer than she needs to, something emotional is happening beneath the surface. She is not simply looking at you, she is experiencing you. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." When someone is enjoying the moment they are sharing with you, their attention naturally stays focused on you. Attention creates connection, and eye contact is the physical expression of attention. Now here is the key detail many men miss. Normal eye contact in conversation usually lasts 1 or 2 seconds before someone naturally looks away. But when attraction is present, that timing changes. The eye contact lingers. She might hold your gaze while smiling slightly before looking down. Or she might look away slowly instead of quickly. Sometimes she will glance back again after breaking eye contact, almost as if the moment pulled her back. These small details create tension, not uncomfortable tension. The kind of tension that makes two people feel aware of each other. Epictetus taught that a person's true intentions are revealed through their actions rather than their words. Eye contact is one of those actions. A woman may say she is just being friendly, but the way she looks at you often tells a deeper story, because the eyes rarely pretend. Another important detail is the emotional softness that appears during these moments. When attraction is present, her gaze often becomes warmer. The expression around the eyes relaxes. Her smile may appear slower and more natural. These are unconscious responses. They happen when someone feels curiosity, comfort, and a hint of excitement around another person. And this is exactly why eye contact is so powerful. It creates a silent connection that words cannot easily replicate. Now here is where many men make a mistake. They break eye contact too quickly. They feel the moment and immediately look away because they become nervous or unsure. But holding eye contact calmly for another second allows that moment of tension to exist naturally. Seneca once wrote, "We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more in imagination than in reality." In social situations, that fear often causes people to retreat from moments that could actually build connection. But calm confidence changes the experience. When you remain relaxed and comfortable during eye contact, the interaction feels natural instead of forced. And that calmness is incredibly attractive. Now, before we continue, let me say something quickly. If you are enjoying this kind of deeper breakdown of human psychology and attraction, consider joining the membership. Inside the membership, we explore these social dynamics and Stoic principles in much greater depth, so you can apply them confidently in real life. It is a great way to sharpen your awareness and develop stronger presence in your interactions. If this insight resonates with you, type this in the comments. I see the look. Let's keep going, because the next signal is incredibly subtle, but extremely revealing once you understand what it means. You will start noticing it everywhere. Number 5. She fixes her hair around you. Now here is a signal that is subtle, instinctive, and incredibly revealing once you start noticing it, folks. She fixes her hair when she is around you. It might look like nothing at first. A quick brush of her hair behind her ear, a small adjustment of her ponytail, a slow flip of her hair over her shoulder while she is listening to you speak. But my friend, these small movements often carry a deeper meaning. Let's be real for a moment. When people are around someone they feel attracted to, they naturally become more aware of how they look. They want to appear a little more polished, a little more appealing. And one of the most common ways women express this is through their hair. Hair framing the face has a powerful visual effect. When a woman adjusts her hair, she is often drawing attention to her face, her neck, and the expressions she is making while she talks to you. Most of the time she is not consciously thinking about it. It simply happens when attraction is present. Let me give you a real situation. Andrew is 61 and attending a small art gallery opening in Denver. While walking through the exhibit, he begins talking with a woman named Melissa, 56, about one of the paintings on the wall. At the beginning of the conversation, Melissa stands casually with her arms relaxed. But as they continue talking, Andrew notices something small. When he makes a humorous comment about modern art, Melissa laughs and lifts her hand to sweep a strand of hair behind her ear. A few minutes later, Andrew shares a story about visiting Italy years earlier. As he speaks, Melissa tilts her head slightly and runs her fingers through the side of her hair again. Now, here is the interesting part. Melissa does not repeat that movement while speaking with other people nearby. But when she turns back toward Andrew, the gesture returns. This is what psychologists often call a grooming gesture. It is a natural response people show when they want to look attractive in front of someone they like. Now, let's look at another example. Brian is 63, attending a small neighborhood dinner party in Charlotte. During the evening, he sits next to a woman named Diane, 58. As they begin talking about travel and favorite vacation spots, Diane occasionally lifts her hair and adjusts it behind her shoulders. At one point, Brian notices something specific. When Diane laughs at something he says, she lightly flips her hair back and smiles before continuing the conversation. That movement lasts only a second, but it happens multiple times throughout the evening. Again, these gestures are rarely planned. They appear naturally when someone feels a spark of attraction. Hair touching is often connected to self-awareness. When a woman becomes slightly more aware of her appearance in front of you, she begins making these small adjustments without even realizing it. And the repetition is the key. Anyone can adjust their hair once, but when the gesture appears repeatedly during your conversation, it often signals that she is paying special attention to how she presents herself around you. Those quiet details reveal a lot about how she feels. If this insight resonates with you, type this in the comments. I notice the signs. Stay tuned because the next signal might surprise you. It shows up in something extremely simple, but it quietly reveals when a woman is enjoying your presence more than anyone else in the room. Number 6. She laughs more with you. Now, here is a signal that sounds simple on the surface, folks, but reveals a lot once you start paying attention. She laughs more when she is around you, not polite laughter, not the quick social laugh people use to be courteous. I am talking about genuine laughter that appears more often when you are part of the conversation. Let's be honest here, my friend. Humor is not just about jokes. It is about emotional comfort. People laugh more easily when they feel relaxed, interested, and connected to the person they are speaking with. When a woman is attracted to you, the emotional atmosphere around you changes. Conversations feel lighter. Her reactions become more expressive. Even simple remarks can trigger laughter because she enjoys the interaction itself. This is something psychologists have observed for years. Laughter is often a social signal that indicates openness and positive emotional engagement, and attraction amplifies that response. Now, here is something interesting. Many men think a woman laughing at their jokes means they must be incredibly funny. Sometimes that is true, but often it is not about the joke at all. It is about the person telling it. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love." In simple terms, when people enjoy a moment, they naturally express that enjoyment. Laughter is one of the most obvious expressions of that enjoyment. When a woman laughs more around you than she does around others, it often means she feels emotionally comfortable in your presence. Epictetus often reminded his students that behavior reveals truth more clearly than words. Someone might say they are just being friendly, but their reactions often reveal a deeper level of engagement. And laughter is one of those revealing reactions. Another detail many men overlook is the timing of the laughter. When attraction is present, laughter often comes quickly and naturally during conversation. She reacts to your comments faster. Her smile appears more easily. Her tone becomes lighter. These reactions show that the emotional atmosphere between you feels easy and enjoyable. This does not mean every laugh is a sign of attraction. People laugh in social settings all the time, but patterns matter. If a woman consistently laughs more when she is talking with you, if her reactions feel warmer and more expressive during your conversations than they do with others, that pattern is worth noticing. Seneca once wrote, "Associate with people who are likely to improve you." Human beings naturally gravitate toward the company they enjoy the most. When someone laughs easily around you, it often means they enjoy your presence more than they might openly say. That enjoyment creates emotional momentum, and emotional momentum is often the beginning of attraction. Now remember something important, folks. This signal is not about performing or trying to be a comedian. It is about creating an atmosphere where conversation feels natural and relaxed. When that happens, laughter appears naturally, And when that laughter appears more often around you, it may be telling you something. If this insight resonates with you, type this in the comments. I see the pattern. Don't go anywhere, because the next sign is even more fascinating. It shows up in body language, and once you recognize it, you will start noticing it in conversations everywhere. Number 7. She mirrors your body language. Now, here is one of the most fascinating signals of attraction, folks, and most people never notice it while it's happening. She begins to mirror your body language. Mirroring is a natural psychological behavior. When people feel comfortable with someone, when they feel connected or interested, their bodies unconsciously start reflecting the other person's movements. They don't plan it. They don't even realize they are doing it. But their posture, gestures, and small movements begin to match yours. Let's be real for a moment, my friend. Human beings are wired for connection. When we feel that connection forming with another person, our bodies naturally try to synchronize with theirs. That synchronization is called mirroring, and it shows up in very subtle ways. Let me give you a real example. Daniel is 62 and attending a small wine tasting event in Sonoma. While standing near one of the tasting tables, he starts talking with a woman named Rebecca, 57. At first, the conversation is casual. Daniel stands with one hand, resting lightly on the edge of the table, while describing a vineyard he visited years ago. A few moments later, Rebecca shifts her position and rests her hand on the table in almost the same way. Daniel doesn't notice it immediately, but a few minutes later he takes a sip of wine and leans slightly against the table while listening. Rebecca does something similar. She leans slightly forward as well. Now here is what makes this interesting. The movements are not identical. They are subtle reflections, but the pattern appears again and again throughout the conversation. When Daniel crosses one foot casually in front of the other, Rebecca adjusts her stance in a similar relaxed posture a short moment later. This is mirroring. Another situation makes this even clearer. Thomas is 64, sitting at a small cafe in Seattle, talking with a woman named Angela, 59. As the conversation becomes more engaging, Thomas leans slightly closer while sharing a story about a trip he took to Alaska. A few seconds later, Angela leans forward as well. When Thomas lifts his coffee cup and pauses while thinking about what to say next, Angela also lifts her cup and pauses in a similar way. Neither of them is consciously copying the other, but their bodies are quietly syncing. Psychologists often view mirroring as a strong indicator of rapport and attraction. When two people feel aligned emotionally, their physical movements begin to align as well. It is the body's quiet way of saying, I feel comfortable with this person, and comfort is often where attraction begins. Now here is the important part. Mirroring usually happens without awareness. That is why it is such a powerful signal. It is not a calculated action. It is a natural response to emotional connection. So, when you notice a woman gradually matching your posture, your pace of movement, or even the rhythm of your gestures, it often means she is feeling that connection. And connection is the soil where attraction grows. If this insight resonates with you, type this in the comments. I notice the mirror. Stay with me, because the next signal is even more revealing, and it often appears in a single small gesture that most men completely overlook. Number 8. She bites her lip when you talk. Now, here is a signal that many men notice but almost never understand correctly, folks. She bites her lip while she is looking at you or listening to you speak. At first glance, it can seem like a random habit. People touch their faces all the time. They adjust their lips, scratch their nose, or move their hands while thinking. But in the context of attraction, lip biting often carries a different meaning. Let's be real for a moment, my friend. The lips are one of the most expressive parts of the human face. When someone feels curiosity, anticipation, or a hint of nervous excitement, the lips often become part of that expression. And attraction tends to bring those emotions together. A woman biting her lip lightly while she is looking at you can be a sign that she is feeling a mix of interest and self-awareness in the moment. It is a small gesture that often appears when someone is processing a feeling they have not fully expressed yet. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The universe is change, our life is what our thoughts make it." In social moments, our thoughts and emotions constantly shift, and those shifts often appear through body language before they appear in words. Lip biting is one of those subtle expressions. Now here is the key detail. When this gesture appears during conversation with you specifically, and especially when it appears alongside other signals like eye contact or smiling, it can indicate emotional engagement. It is not just a random habit. It is a reaction to the moment. Epictetus often reminded his students that actions reveal truth more clearly than statements. People can choose their words carefully, but their unconscious gestures are harder to control, and lip biting is often unconscious. It can happen when she is thinking about something you just said. It can appear when she is holding eye contact a little longer than usual. Sometimes it appears right before she smiles or laughs. These micro-expressions show that her attention is fully engaged in the interaction. Seneca wrote something that fits perfectly here. He said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." Many men overthink small signals like this and either dismiss them completely or assume they mean something dramatic. The truth is simpler. One gesture alone rarely means everything, but patterns matter. If a woman bites her lip while maintaining eye contact with you, while smiling, or while listening closely to what you are saying, that combination often signals emotional interest, because attraction often brings a small amount of nervous energy. That nervous energy appears in gestures like lip touching, smiling, or small movements of the hands and face. These gestures show that the interaction feels meaningful to her, and meaningful interactions tend to stay in people's minds. The important thing is not to stare at every tiny gesture and try to analyze it like a detective. Instead, simply observe the overall pattern of behavior. When several signals appear together, the story becomes clearer. If this insight resonates with you, type this in the comments. I read the signals. Let's keep going, because the next sign reveals something even more powerful. It shows how a woman may quietly create opportunities to spend more time with you when she feels genuine attraction. Number 9. She creates excuses to see you. Now here is a signal that moves beyond body language and into behavior, folks. When a woman is attracted to you, she will often find reasons to see you again. Not always direct reasons. Sometimes they appear as small excuses. Let's be real for a moment, my friend. When someone enjoys your presence, they naturally look for ways to experience that feeling again. They want more conversation, more interaction, more moments where they can be around you. But many women do not express that interest directly. Instead, they create situations that bring the two of you together again. It might sound casual on the surface, but the intention behind it can be very clear. Let me give you an example. James is 61 and regularly visits a small neighborhood coffee shop in Austin. One morning, he starts talking with a woman named Linda, 56, while waiting for his order. They begin discussing books they enjoy reading. The conversation lasts only a few minutes before James has to leave. As he gathers his coffee, Linda smiles and says something simple. "You should come back on Thursday mornings. That's when the owner brings fresh pastries from the bakery down the street." On the surface, it sounds like a friendly suggestion. But look at what actually happened. Linda created a reason for James to return at a specific time. A time when she also plans to be there. Now consider another situation. Michael is 63 and attending a community gardening event in Portland. While helping organize plants, he talks with a woman named Sarah, 58, about different types of tomatoes they both enjoy growing. At the end of the event, Sarah says something interesting. "Next weekend, I'm trying a new farmer's market across town. You might like it. They have great local produce." Again, this sounds casual, but what she has actually done is create another opportunity for interaction. And these opportunities are rarely accidental. People naturally invest their time in the company they enjoy. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, The things you think about determine the quality of your mind. When someone enjoys thinking about the moments they shared with you, they often look for ways to create more of those moments. And that is exactly what these small invitations represent. Now here is the key detail many men overlook. The excuse often sounds practical. Maybe she asks for your opinion on something later. Maybe she suggests another event, another cafe, another activity. Sometimes she even frames it as something you might enjoy rather than something she wants. But the result is the same: another chance to see you. Epictetus often said that actions reveal intention more clearly than words. A person might not say directly that they want to spend time with you, but their behavior quietly creates that possibility. And repeated opportunities are rarely random. If someone repeatedly suggests ways for you to meet again, talk again, or share another activity, that pattern is worth noticing. Because time is the most valuable thing people have. And people usually choose to spend it with the people they enjoy the most. If this insight resonates with you, type this in the comments: I see the effort. Stay with me because the final signal brings everything together. It reveals the one look that often tells you exactly how a woman truly feels about you. Number 10. The way she looks at you. Let's finish with the signal that quietly ties everything together, folks. The way she looks at you. Not just eye contact, not just a glance across the room. The overall expression she carries when her attention settles on you. Let's be honest for a moment, my friend. Attraction often reveals itself in the simplest human behavior. Before words are spoken, before physical touch happens, the eyes and facial expressions already begin telling the story. And when a woman truly likes you, the way she looks at you changes. There is usually a softness in her expression. Her gaze lingers a little longer. Her eyes seem more focused, more attentive. Instead of scanning the room or looking distracted, her attention stays on you. It feels different from ordinary conversation. Many men struggle to explain this feeling, but they sense it immediately. Something about her expression feels warmer, more engaged, almost as if she is quietly studying you. Let me give you an example. Patrick is 64, attending a small live music event in Nashville. During the intermission, he starts talking with a woman named Claire, 59, about the band playing that evening. At first, the conversation is casual. They discuss the music, the venue, and how long they have lived in the city. But Patrick notices something subtle. Whenever Claire looks at him, her eyes stay just a moment longer than expected. She smiles slowly while listening to his stories, and when he pauses, she keeps her gaze on him instead of immediately looking away. There is a sense of attention in her expression. Not intense, not uncomfortable, just present. Later in the conversation, Patrick says something playful about how terrible his singing voice is. Claire laughs softly, and for a brief moment, she looks directly at him with a warm, steady expression before glancing down. That moment lasts only a couple of seconds, but it leaves an impression. Now, consider another situation. Stephen is 61, chatting with a woman named Karen, 56, at a small dinner gathering in Boston. As the group conversation shifts around the table, Stephen occasionally speaks about his travels. Each time he finishes a story, Karen looks directly at him with a quiet smile. Not the polite smile people give out of courtesy. A slower smile, the kind that appears when someone genuinely enjoys the person in front of them. As the evening continues, Stephen begins to notice something else. When other people are speaking, Karen listens politely, but when Stephen speaks, her attention sharpens. Her eyes stay focused, her posture leans slightly toward him, and her expression becomes more animated. These small differences reveal a powerful truth. Attention is selective. People give their strongest attention to the people who interest them most, and attraction often appears in that focused attention. The way someone looks at you when they are interested carries a certain warmth. Their eyes soften, their smile feels genuine, their attention feels steady instead of distracted. These signals may seem subtle, but together they create a clear emotional message. When a woman looks at you with that kind of attention, It often means she enjoys your presence more than she may openly say. And sometimes, my friend, that quiet look tells you everything you need to know. All right, folks, let's bring this together. Today, we broke down 10 subtle signals that reveal when a woman sees you as more than just a friend. From the way she touches you, to how close she chooses to stand, to the tone of her voice, her laughter, and the way her eyes stay on you a little longer than usual. These small behaviors often speak louder than words ever could. Once you understand these patterns, you stop guessing. You start noticing the signals most men completely miss. If you want to go deeper and learn how to read human behavior and build real masculine presence using Stoic principles, consider joining the membership. That's where we explore these ideas in much greater depth and show you how to apply them in real situations. And if you found this video valuable, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next one. Thank you for being here. I'll see you tomorrow.